And now the Sooners are on the field for spring practice, and all the angles that we've discussed in recent weeks and months will be played out over the next 6 weeks or so as they go through their, as Jason outlined, 33 sessions. So it will be interesting to see what we can gather from, again, the upcoming weeks. So Ted Roof, defensive coordinator, has met with the media. Jason, I know that you didn't take anything huge away from him addressing the media, but was there anything there to go on?
Not really, Mark. I mean, he talked a lot about approach, kind of the approach that they have taken as a staff to this program, and talked a lot about where he'd been. And anybody that's followed Ted Roof's career knows that he's jumped around a lot. At one point he was a head coach at Duke, and then had just moved around kind of the ACC area, really predominantly SEC a little bit as well. Previously, obviously at Clemson this past year. So I think he brought a lot of kind of comparisons to what does this look like at Oklahoma versus some of the places that he's been before, and obviously talked about the differences. The program Oklahoma is a much better program than the places that he's been, probably minus Clemson, right? So I think that was more talked a little bit about the approach that they have taken off the field, just kind of investing holistically in the kids, really, as opposed to kind of looking at them specifically as football players. And I think, kind of an interesting question was talking about his son TD, who's a senior this year, has transferred from Appalachian State to Oklahoma. And there was a question asked on just exactly how what the difference is in having your son play for you, as a player. And talked about him. He's always going to be a son, but at the same time he'll coach him as hard or even harder than maybe some of his other players as well. So it's once practice starts, there's not a whole lot of difference. So I think it'll be. He was the only one that I had heard about any kind of media availability after right there before practice or after practice yesterday. But no, I think I think we'll start hearing some more information anecdotally, but talked a little bit about he felt like the installation would happen. It's not one of those things that he was extremely concerned about. They've got a lot of familiarity with the defensive side of the ball with Brent Venables, Todd Bates, Miguel Chavis, and obviously Ted Roof that were there in Clemson last year. So I think a lot of them kind of speaking the same language and really kind of understand on what they're trying to do defensively. So it didn't really feel like the installation was going to be something that's going to be very difficult or something that's going to be a challenge heading into the spring practice. But a couple of other things that were interesting. Talked a little bit about the approach that he's taken here versus other places. Just looking at it from from that perspective, based on maybe the talent level is the same. Felt like the talent level was really on par with what he's seen at Clemson. It's just really kind of getting them to play their style of defense, which is a little bit different than what Alex Grinch played at Oklahoma. So someone even asked him to compare his defense compared to Alex Grinch's, and obviously he didn't get into that any from a comparison perspective, because I think his quote was that that Oklahoma's won a lot of football games with Alex Grinch here. So it's nothing bad that he's done. So I think interesting, and a lot of people looking to going to the spring game and looking forward to the spring game are very interested to see what probably more so than the offensive side of the ball, looking forward to seeing what the change will be look like on the defensive side of the ball.